Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kira Mack, as always, and delighted you've been able to tune in with us for another show. Now, before we do get into the top stories trending here in Thailand, don't forget, as always, to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when the next podcast or show or live stream is going to be uploaded onto the platform. Now, if you like listening to us on a podcast player, you can do so by going down below in the description. There's a link there that will take you to a vast array of podcast players where the show is hosted on. And finally, if you like the show, if you want to support us here on the show, there's a couple of ways, but the easiest and best way is to just become a channel member. Channel membership is 100 baht per month, and for that you get some emojis that you can use during the live chat. You get a little star beside your name showing that you are a member of this wonderful community, and also finally you will get this video as soon as it's uploaded onto the platform, so you'll be able to watch it before everybody else. Normally I upload them about 7 or 8 p.m. and then they're put online at about 7 a.m. in the morning. So that's how it works. But now that's all done and dusted, we are going to jump into the top stories here. And the first story, little story coming out of, I think it was The Nation today, but summer begins in Thailand at the end of February with the hottest spell here in March. Thailand will officially enter the summer season at the end of February, and it would last until May, the Thailand Meteorological Department said on Saturday. Temperatures could reach up to 44.5 degrees Celsius in some provinces and up to 41 degrees in the capital in the hottest periods, the department forecast. The heat is expected to be at its most intense in mid-March. The southeasterly winds and the accompanying low barometric pressure would bring thunderstorms to some parts of the country, the department said. Now, additionally, the department warned of forest fires due to the hotter and drier weather being more conducive to outbreaks. Vulnerable groups should guard against heat stroke during the most intensive periods of summer heat, it cautioned. Thailand and the rest of the world are still in an El Nino weather cycle. The UN's World Meteorological Organization expects the cycle to last until at least April of this year, 2024. So it's going to be hot here in Thailand over the next few months. If you're coming here, bring plenty of sunscreen, drink plenty of water, wear a hat. Okay, very important when you're out there in the heat, because let me tell you, getting heat stroke is not fun. I had it quite a few years ago because I was being stupid and I was a bit younger, and I thought, the sun doesn't bother me. Of course, an Irish man out in the middle of the sun is not a good thing, and I got quite ill for a few days. So take it from me, it's not something you want to get. But we'll move along to the next story, and this is in relation to the Move Forward's trial at the end of this month about its plan to change the 112 law, and basically what it was going to do during its election pledges. This is something they campaigned on. The Constitutional Court has 3 options for its rulings in a case which the Move Forward party is accused of intending to overthrow the Constitutional Monarchy with its election pledge to abrogate Section 112 of the Criminal Code, more commonly known as the lèse majesté law. Now, Assistant Professor Prinya Temwanrangkul, Director of the university's Law Centre at Thammasat University, said that the case is, however, potentially more serious for the Move Forward party than the ITV share ownership case against its former leader, Peter Limjaroenrat, on which the Constitutional Court ruled on Wednesday, clearing him of the charge. Now, he played down speculation that the party would be dissolved because the petitioner only asked the court to order the party to cease attempts to abrogate or weaken the lèse majesté law, not to dissolve the party. So these are that's an important distinction to make. The 3 possible rulings by the court are to dismiss the petition if it finds that the stated intention to change or repeal the lèse majesté law does not amount to an attempt to topple the constitutional monarchy. Find that the party's election campaign pledge is not an attempt to topple the constitutional monarchy, but orders it to cease such campaign activities. Or finally, find that the party is guilty of attempting to topple the constitutional monarchy and order the party to be dissolved. Prinya ruled out the third option, however, saying that it is not a sanction being sought by the petitioner, who is only seeking to stop the party's campaign to scrap the lèse majesté law. He believes that the court is most likely to choose the second option. And that's from Thai PBS. Now, I think he's probably on the right kind of path here in his thinking. The petitioner did not ask for the party to be dissolved, and I don't think the country has any appetite for more protests on the street and, for basically what went on in 2020 with the student-led protests. I just don't think that the country has the appetite for that or the stomach. And I think the Constitutional Court seem to be quite weary of the decisions that they've been making recently, that they don't want to rock the boat at the moment, because the political situation in the country has been quite balanced at the moment. I think people are okay with the way things are, because it seems like the Prime Minister is trying to do a decent job. We don't see a lot of these generals out in front now. Prowett has vanished. They've all kind of disappeared into the background. And Thailand at least has on the surface, looks like the country and the democracy is going well at the moment. So I don't think they're going to dissolve it. I think it would just cause complete chaos in the country. And that's certainly not something anybody wants to see. Now we'll move along to the next story, and there has been alert issued about bogus consulates. That's right. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is warning people to be on their guard against scammers claiming to be the Thai consulate officials. The warning comes after social media accounts and phone numbers supposedly belonging to Thai consulates were reported to be bogus in Australia and Japan. Now, Ministry spokesman Kanchana Patchakok said on Friday that in Australia, scammers use telephone numbers which were once but no longer used by the Royal Thai Honorary Consulate in Melbourne to mislead victims. Victims were asked for personal information or to connect via a line account and make payments online. Cases of a similar nature also occurred in Japan, Ms. Kanchana said. Scammers may also use phone numbers listed as unknown to pose as embassy officials in Tokyo to dupe victims into transferring money to the defrauders. Those who have fallen victim are Thais in Japan and also Japanese people who can't understand the Thai language, she said. The Royal Thai Embassy in Tokyo urged victims duped into transferring money to immediately file complaints with the Japanese police. They can also contact the Thai Embassy in Tokyo for further information at 090-4435-7812. Now, Ms. Kanchana also warned people in Thailand about a Facebook page, line account and mobile applications imitating the Thailand Foreign Ministry Consular Department. People should always be careful when asked for personal information and contact information or to provide biometric data because they can be misled by scammers, she said. The Consular's Department official website is www.consular.go.th. Now, something that strikes me about this is, does it seem like there's a bit of an inside job here? So if you're contacting Thais and asking them for payment or asking, let's say, Japanese people or Australians for payment, they've obviously got some form of application being put in that they would have to be paying for. I mean, there would be no reason if somebody called you from Thai consulate and told you have to pay for this or that, and you'd be like, well, I never applied for a visa, so what are you talking about? So is it just me, or does it sound like there possibly is somebody within these consulates who are in on this? Because they're giving this information, phone numbers, etc., to somebody to call these people who have legitimate business with the consulate. And that's how I read it. It doesn't seem to be kind of played that way by the consulates or the foreign ministry, but the way I would read that is, if somebody has your phone number, they know you have business with the consulate and they're calling you up, how did they get that information? Of course, another thing to note, I think the consulates also have an issue is that, when you get these places like Penang and stuff like that where you go down, a lot of agents have a lot of contacts within embassies. And I think there is a lot of dodgy dealings going on between embassy staff and agents on the outside. And I think that can cause problems too. It's very easy to make a fake line account, a fake WhatsApp account, anything, to trick people. So people should take care and caution. Never transfer money to somebody unless you're legitimately convinced that the person that's asking for it is, there's a reason behind it, that you've applied for something, and make sure you go down the official channels before you do things like that. I also noticed a lot of these consulates use Gmail accounts, no official consular email accounts, .co.th at the end, or consular . Also, that should be and that should be something that the Thai consulates, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, should be saying. There's no Gmail accounts to be used. we should have one official phone number and that's it. And they should streamline this kind of stuff to make sure people are not getting conned, because or scammed. It's just not a fun thing for people, and it makes people very weary of, legitimate businesses and companies then in the future. But I'd love to know your opinion. Have you ever been scammed, here in Thailand, whether it's a consulate or whatnot, or just in Thailand in general? I'd love to know down below in the comment section as always. Now we'll move on to another wonderful story. This actually is quite interesting. So a British man makes up a story about being held for ransom in Pattaya. That's right. So police officers deployed commandos to help the British man after being informed by his family in England that he was kidnapped and being held for ransom. But when they arrived, they found that the man had made up a story because he had run out of money, so he thought of tricking his family into sending money to him. Now, Police Lieutenant General Jirapat, Commander-in-Chief of the Central Police Bureau, received a report from Mr. Ian's family in England via Interpol that Mr. Ian had been kidnapped for ransom in Thailand. As a result, he directed the investigative team to the Crime Suppression Division to rush to help. Now, when the CIB found out that Mr. Ian was staying in a room in Soi Nong Pru 13, Pattaya City, they sent the Special Operations team to the area to help the victim right away from the ransom gang. However, when the commandos arrived, they discovered that Mr. Ian was taking drugs with 3 other Western foreigners. Mr. Damien, a French national, Mr. Darren, a British national, and Mr. Benjamin, a New Zealand citizen. The law enforcement officers found no evidence of being kidnapped. As alleged, they discovered firearms and drugs in the room. As a result, an arrest was made on allegations of jointly possessing Category 1 narcotics. That's methamphetamine. Jointly possessing firearms and ammunition, and being an alien whose permission to remain in the kingdom had expired. According to the investigation, Mr. Ian and 3 other companions lived in Thailand for a long time until they ran out of money. So Mr. Ian made a scam to mislead people at home into believing he had been kidnapped and demanded ransom. He hoped his family would send money to him for the next trip, but the plan had been uncovered beforehand. The officers then took the suspects to Pattaya City Police Station, and prosecutions will continue. Genius. Mr. Ian thought that his family were going to hand over a load of money, but instead, Mr. Ian's family were smart. We'll go to our police station. We'll tell them what happened. Interpol contacts the Thai police because, it's a very serious thing. Being kidnapped and held at gunpoint, you call the police. You don't pay the ransom, you call the police first. But of course, Mr. Ian now, and also he's got all his buddies all locked up as well. So the whole scam seems to have backfired. But it really just shows you some of the characters that are here in Thailand and the scams they're up to. They don't care. When it comes to drugs and stuff like that, family members don't matter to people like this. They'll take whatever they want from whoever they want if they can get it. But it seems like the whole thing backfired, and Mr. Ian may be spending some time in Thailand in prison before being deported. And that's, of course, if he can afford to pay for the ticket to send him home, after he's been deported. Otherwise, he may be staying in prison here for an extended stay. And of course, I'm sure his family won't be too eager to, help him out. And, finally, the last story of the day, magic mushrooms arrests continue in Phuket. And it's been going on for a couple of days. There seems to be a whole episode of magic mushrooms going around Phuket. But police officers in Phuket are continuing their efforts to combat illegal drugs, particularly magic mushrooms, which are widely available at local ganja shops, as revealed by Patong police raids last year. The most recent arrest for possession of magic mushrooms was reportedly by Patong police after 9 p.m. on Thursday. The arrest itself occurred around 6 p.m. Now, according to the report on Patong's police station Facebook page, an unnamed British national was apprehended for possessing magic mushrooms in front of Panya restaurant on Pra Barami Road. While police did not elaborate on the reason for searching the man, they specified that he was found in possession of 1.1 grams of magic mushrooms. The 33-year-old suspect was taken to Patong police station and charged with illegal possession of a Category 5 drug. Now, in November 2023, Patong police conducted a series of raids on various cannabis shops and reggae bars, resulting in the arrest of several suspects for selling magic mushrooms. All were subsequently taken to Patong police station and charged with the illegal possession of the Category 5 drug. Again, is it just me, or have I noticed an awful lot of drug-related arrests recently here in Thailand? I think what really has, or what's going on, is foreigners think that all drugs seem to be legal here in Thailand. And I blame the government for this, particularly the last junta government, especially with Mr. Sharvakul as the health minister, who thought it would be a great idea to decriminalize marijuana, which, has proven it wasn't the best of ideas. And it's given foreigners a sense of security in terms of possessing drugs here in the country and consuming drugs. It wasn't that long ago that the idea Thailand was known as to be the last place in the world that you should be having drugs, because if you're caught, you're going to jail for 10, 15, 20 years. Now people, because they have decriminalize marijuana and cannabis and whatnot, people feel safe to consume other types of drugs, which is leading to this kind of epidemic amongst foreigners here in Thailand, where they feel they can pretty much consume anything they want. And I think this does need to be cracked down on. As I said, there was a time where we all know that Thailand was a place not to get caught with drugs. At the moment, it seems to be every foreigner seems to be doing it because they feel so comfortable doing it. But I hope for this man's sake, it's not a terrible amount of magic mushrooms. So maybe, I don't know what the penalty is for a category 5 offence, but hopefully it's nothing too severe. But anyway, that is it for today. As always, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back on Tuesday or Wednesday morning with more stories. It depends on the news, as always, of course. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support, as always. Take care and have a great day. But ultimately, with this story or anything else that stood out to you today, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Because yes, this is a news show, but it's also a conversation. Now keep that conversation going. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and do all the good stuff that does help that YouTube algorithm. But ultimately, my name is Kieran Mack. You've been listening to the Thai Expat Daily Show, and we will see you next time.